5 sentences. Let's continue to explore what are all the possible approaches that we can take. So can we quickly identify our repeat words? I have Marcus Garvey here, and then I have Garvey again repeated here. I have African American, African American, African American, African American people. So that's another repeat word. I also have war, which is repeated. War. So let's go back and look at our context and try and figure out what's the right sequence and flow here. So A says, when Jamaican-born social activist Marcus Garvey came to the United States in 1916, he arrived at precisely the right historical moment. And we also need to pay attention to the years here, right? I have 1916, I have 2008, I have 1918. So if we are referring to an historical moment, we'll have to choose the right sentences in that or expressing that particular period, right? So I know A and C is somewhat similar. What made the moment right? So here again, right historical moment. So what made the moment right? That's another repeat phrase here, right? So AC is definitely a connect. Was the return of African American soldiers from the First World War in 1918, which created an ideal constituency for some with Garvey's message of unity, pride, and improved conditions for African American communities. Now B basically refers to Senator Barack Obama of Illinois becoming the president, right? It's talking about how he was elected as the president. He was the first African American to be elected as the president of the United States. This is not in line with A and C for sure. Let's quickly take a look at D and E. But the African American returned to the United States only to find themselves segregated from white troops and subjected to numerous indignities as it had been before the war. E also says, hoping to participate in the traditional American ethos of individual success, many African American people entered the armed forces with enthusiasm. So in terms of a sequence, right, everything is referring to in that period, how they were treated, what was the animosity between Americans, the whites and the blacks, right? So D and E kind of, so I would say A, B, E, D is more a sequence, and the only sore thumb sticking out is B, right? It has no relevance to the period that has been referred to in all the other sentences. We're talking 1916, 1918, and we're referring to war. So the sequence would ideally be A, B, E, D. So hoping to participate in the traditional American ethos of individual success, they entered the armed forces with enthusiasm. However, so there's a contradiction. However, the reality was that, even after the war, it was the same case as it was before the war, no difference. There was still segregation between the white troops and the blacks, and they were subject to numerous indignities, right? So the answer is B. So here, what we've done is basically we've applied our underlying strategy, identifying repeat words and phrases, paying attention to the years mentioned, and also paying attention to, because of the help of the repeat words, war as a context, right? And what happened before the war and what happened during the war, after the war, etc. So that's another key word for us, which helped us figure out what's the context that is not in line with the main idea of the passage. So here, it's more to do with, what's the flow, right? We've literally applied the strategies of jumble sentences in this one and been able to identify the one that is not in line with the main idea. So follow the statements and see what the general flow is. Basically, the strategy that you would apply for any jumble sentence, right? So more than, defining what these approaches are, I think the idea here is to approach this question type like you would a jumble sentence question itself, right? And then keep in mind these major things like, what's the main subject? What's the main theme? Are there homonyms? Are there homophones? Is there a general flow that you're able to see? Are the clue words and the repeat words and phrases helping you? Even though you have 2 or 3 similar words, are they still giving us the same meaning, right? Is it positive, negative, or is it talking about one particular thing? Like I said, all the sentences might refer to features of a product. There could be one just talking about how that product is not doing well in the market, right? So let's move on and look at other questions like this and identify and apply these approaches that we just saw and see if you are able to identify the answer.